With MIA Microflight, once again, I finally did it. Finally did this frame, 3D printed frame for this Cold Whisper that I've had for many, many years, almost 3 decades. This helicopter was produced back in 1991. When it first came out, I got this helicopter right away because it was one of the very first electric helicopters of this particular size. Very cool looking helicopter. I mean, just the angles on this helicopter are some very nice. I mean, just that angle, the very slight angle that it has in the canopy, especially, is it's a very good looking helicopter. So I could not pass that offer when this first came out. Plus, I was already making my own helicopters when this came out back in earlier years, because much earlier years I embarked on wanting to have an electric helicopter of that I could train myself in indoors, and I just could not find any helicopters. Most of the helicopters around that time were gas helicopters, and so I started doing my own helicopter. And when this came out, I bought it, just to see what all this new hype was about. The helicopter flew with NiCad batteries and a brushed motor, 540. I think it was a 500 or 540 size DC motor, brush motor. Um, and it didn't fly more than three at the most 5 minute flight times. The helicopter was very lightweight with the original frame. Now, as you can see here, I've done my own frame, and that's the purpose of me embedding my name there on this particular frame, because I have modified, re-engineered the frame for so that it would work in 3D printed form. The original one was injection molded, basically nylon with fiberglass. It's typically done, when you injection mold plastic nylon parts, for products such as this. The frame was rather complex, in the sense that this not only is a dual stage gear setup, but it also has angles in order to achieve this slight angle on the boom. And so it's got this gear is tilted slightly forward, and so the gears are also molded with those angles. So the frame follows that geometry, and it may not seem that complex here, because all you see here is openings, for the servos and to line the frame. But it is complex in that sense, because of those particular angles. So it is something that I did in plywood when this helicopter first came out. I went through a few frames in the process of trying to get this to fly, and eventually I ended up. My last flight around those years ended up in a crash. I really totaled the helicopter, and I decided to put it away for a better day. Fast forward, that many years to today, which we are in 2026. It's third month, March of 2026. And here I am, with this helicopter. This was all in pieces, like I said, and I just finally assembled this. This is a boom that also is not the original boom, because the original boom was much thinner and very lightweight, very fragile. So I went with a little thicker boom. This is not aluminum that you buy at the hardware store. This is bought from an industrial place to just a little bit thicker wall thickness. So it's not that heavy, because the ones at the hardware store are heavy. Plus, that the diameter is a little bit different. So it is a boom that I bought a while back. I think I was doing one of my own helicopters, and I bought a 6 foot section of this tube, and so out of that tube, I created this boom here that you see here. Luckily, the belt is still intact. A lot of these parts are still intact. I did have to repair the head here, which is fiberglass. This is 3mm fiberglass that has been sandwiched with these supports for the blade grip pivots. I am missing a link right here. This is that link right there, so I have to find that link or manufacture my own so that I can attach this to the this lever here. This is my own here that I did back in those days when I got this helicopter. I had just obtained a Sherline mill in lathe, and so this was one of my first parts that I did on the Sherline mill in lathe. These aluminum parts. I said, hey, I got these little machines. Why not? Just what better way to start than with some mechanical parts, for a radio control helicopter. This swash plate right here, the original one had broken. Had typically, round parts like this, rings and swash plates tend to crack over time. It's just a given with some of these injection molded parts that are manufactured, under pressure, heat and pressure. Over time, they tend to dry up and then they crack. And so that swash plate had developed a crack over here on the link, and so I decided to do a 3D printed one. It's much beefier than the original one, so it should be just fine. The frame is I explained in some short videos that I did of this upgrade or update. Is done in two parts, plate or side A and side B, and it's sandwiched and retained with these screws here. These screws are a little bit too long, that's why they're sticking out. I have to replace these with some shorter ones. I do have the screws. These are all 2mm hardware, and as you can see, the frame does have the pockets for those hex nuts. And so with the proper size screws, that should be flush. It's something that I will do next. Frame came out pretty good. It took me 3 tries to get this to this final point. This is perfect right now. The mesh is just right. You can probably hear in the clicking sound that it makes, because the gear mesh is just right. This is very clever the way they did this collective pitch setup here, mechanical arm here. As the servo works this, it raises that carrier, and because this is linked to the blade grips, it establishes a pitch, positive pitch. These are the original blades. You can see this has gone yellow over the years. I think this is just this is actually vinyl, electrical vinyl tape. This used to be white, like whiter than this, and so it's going yellow. So I'll replace all that. The original heat shrink tubing on the original blades. Luckily, I never broke a blade. In the process of trying to get this, I did fly this helicopter a couple times, but it was back in those years I was still not as proficient as I am these days. We're talking about so many years, and so but these are the original blades. I am going to clean these up and put them back on the helicopter. This is missing the paddles. I believe I reused those paddles in some other helicopter that I was working on. Because this was in pieces, I decided, let me just use some of those parts on some other helicopter. But I do have the original paddles. I also made aluminum paddles. They're much heavier, so they establish a little more gyroscopic stability on the helicopter. This used a gyroscope, a mechanical gyroscope for the tail, and just a basic MOSFET speed control. Actually, I remember I used a radio that was it was a Futaba radio that had the speed control embedded with the receiver. It was like a 2-in-1 type thing. I still have that. If I find it, I am going to have to see what. I think the last time I used that, I burned a couple of the MOSFETs. So I mean that's an easy fix. It's just replace the MOSFETs. The canopy is going in this video. You won't see it. It probably looks beige in color of this plastic here, but it's gone. I have to be careful with this plastic because it's a little brittle. in some sections. You can see that it's developed a couple little cracks here, but it is yellow, and this happens, you know, when this is exposed to ambient light. You know, plastics tend to get yellow over time. Just the chemical composition of the plastic uh, molecules, you know, in materials. So it is a little bit yellow. I'm, you know, I don't want to take out all these stickers, because I won't be able to put them back on the helicopters. You see them there. Once you peel this off, it will never go back the same. And I wanted to retain the same art on the canopy. So I may just leave it as is. If not, if I decide to take this out, I'm going to paint the canopy. Put a coat of uh, paint for plastics. That'll reinforce also the plastic a little bit better, and not keep it so brittle. It'll soften it up a little bit, and maybe redo the artwork. But it is a cool helicopter. This is my own landing gear, by the way, aluminum landing gear. I bent this, you know, last time I was flying this, as I said, just slightly on that crash, but it's still good, you know. So I installed that landing gear once again. This is missing, I believe, a one of not one of these, but just a rod here, because the way the canopy is mounted is via these ball links here. Let me pause this video for a minute. And as I was saying, I have to be careful with this canopy because it is a little bit brittle. The plastic, I mean, it's not really brittle, but you know, I'm trying to prevent it from cracking. I may reinforce this, or just shave this section here so it doesn't continue the crack. I was thinking of maybe making a mold of this. I would have to seal all the openings and crevices and seam lines, and maybe pour some plaster of Paris to get it solidified, and get a core here that I can mold, finish and mold, because starting from scratch using something like Renwood or